Ladies and gentlemen, New York's wonderful governor, Andrew Cuomo, is facing a sixth investigation involving individuals who have made accusations of misconduct, that he engaged in rampant misconduct of a specific nature that I'm not going to get into, just because of the algorithm and abiding by YouTube policies and guidelines. Because if you really get into the controversies, Biden's son, Andrew Cuomo, the Lincoln Project, these are all like disgraced political entities, individuals. If you really get into them and actually like discuss everything that they're accused of or that they're reported to have done, Tara Reade's accusations against Joe Biden that resulted in a police report. Nobody's ever filed a police report against Trump or Kavanaugh. But see, again, President Trump, by the way, has been spotted in New York. He's in New York looking at business deals or his business endeavors. They think they have him on some grandiose, all of these alleged crimes. They've yet to name one specific thing that he's done to break any legal statute. Literally, they've yet to name one thing. They need to investigate to see if he actually broke any laws. There isn't a land deal like Whitewater, or you're not talking about Bernie Madoff with a hedge fund going under. Nobody can point to any. You have allegations from Michael Cohen, but he's serving prison time for things that for a whole bunch of things that he did that had nothing to do with Trump. But here, sixth individual accuses Governor Andrew Cuomo of misconduct. Report by Haley Victory Smith, March 9, 2021, Washington Examiner. A sixth individual reportedly accused New York Governor Andrew Cuomo of misconduct, a new report revealed. I'm wondering, ladies and gentlemen, will BuzzFeed or Vanity Fair or Esquire or Rolling Stone or Mother Jones or The Nation or the New York Times or the Washington Post, will they find Andrew Cuomo's prom date 40 years ago? Will they find 36 people who knew him growing up? That's what they did to Madison Caulfield. So they're the political side that pontificates and judges and condemns and steps up, yells into this megaphone of morality on their soapbox, their pristine soapbox. They are the new televangelists. Oftentimes, a great many liberal Democrats are the new televangelists of this generation. They're the ones who are on a moral crusade to right the wrongs of our world, yet they're the ones who commit most of the problem. Either start like an era of mass incarceration, which is Joe Biden with the crime bill, or being accused of a really horrendous thing. They spent endless hours on Trump's hot mic, which was a hot mic. It wasn't a deposition. They say never trust Trump, but trust him on a hot mic. And nobody accused him of that specific act. But Biden was actually accused of that specific act, and there was a police report filed. Nobody believed on the left. They propped up Andrew Cuomo as America's governor? For what? God bless the people of New York. They deserve better than this man. And I've been talking about this for years in the most algorithmically friendly way possible. I said, this man presided over this was the epicenter of this crisis the past year was New York. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. Tell your friends about this channel. If you want to read my writing in The Hill, The Huffington Post, Salon, The Jerusalem Post, The Roanoke Times, The Federalist, go to hagoodman.com. If you want to support my voice long-term, your support is greatly appreciated on Patreon. That'll be below in the pinned comment and description. And also on hagoodman.com, you can see my debates as well. But they're the ones who pontificate and preach. And you have a long list of Democratic males, wonderful liberal men who have engaged in the most despicable conduct. Yet they have media and Hollywood prop them up, cover up all their indiscretions and sins, and lack of judgment and horrible decision making. And that's like, where's BuzzFeed with the 36 people that can corroborate? So you're going to multiply that times 6. So you have close to 240 people that get to work. Wonderful, intrepid liberal journalist going after Madison Caulfield. Well, why don't you, if it's about a moral code, treat Democrats in the same manner you treat Republicans? But you don't. When they say Al Franken resigned, he didn't want to resign. There was a photo of him going like this. There was a photo. That was evidence corroborating. Not just that. That was a lot more incriminating than somebody saying, well, yeah, I can believe it happened. And what's this stuff like they're going after Josh Hawley's prom date and people he grew up with? I love how when they go after conservatives in a public relations sense, and the Daily Beast wrote an unethical, inaccurate hit piece on me, riddled with inaccuracies. When I was on the left, when I was the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet, according to the Huffington Post, and the unofficial scribe of Sanders' most hardcore voters, according to the Washington Post. Everything they did to Trump, they did to Bernie Sanders and Bernie supporters. So I vote for President Trump. Why? In large part because he's a great president, but mainly because on May 1st, 2021, we're supposed to leave. The Americans are supposed to have left, or supposed to leave, a country within a region of the world we shouldn't have been in for 20 years. President Trump ended that military, longest running conflict in American history. We're supposed to be completely out of Afghanistan. And so you vote against Biden and for Trump to ensure that we don't. This is a far greater moral issue than Medicare for all or climate change. Because you don't know when or if the planet's going to end. Well, you don't know when. Let's just say you don't know when the planet's going to end. You know that if nuclear countries, are in one region of the world that's a powder keg, and you have Democrats saying, well, Putin wants us out, so we're going to stay there. That's their national security rationale. Just to spite Russia. It's like the Berlin Wall fell over 30 years ago. So all of that propaganda and nonsense should have fallen and gone away as well. They needed to save face in 2016 when Trump saved us from 4 years of Clinton, or possibly 8 years. So they purchased a dossier, utilized some gossip from Alexander Downer, the Australian diplomat, and they had no direct evidence. They admitted they had no direct evidence, but they made baseless allegations. And all the smartest people in the room were making baseless allegations. The same people who said the Gulf of Tonkin happened, the Bay of Pigs, like all of these intelligence failures were predicated upon, or all of these events in U.S. history were predicated upon intelligence failures. Bay of Pigs, Gulf of Tonkin. Okay, we should never have been in Vietnam. That was an intelligence failure. Gulf of Tonkin. And then you look, WMD, Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld. And you had Biden. Like I heard recently one person that said, well, my cutoff is somebody who doesn't make fun of people. You know what? I'll take Trump making fun of people or insulting people, even though I wish that he didn't do that. But I'll take that over voting alongside Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld. That's my cutoff. I don't want somebody who was deceived by the same intelligence operatives that Democrats and media now revere. Simply because you better believe if these intelligence operatives actually sided with Trump, they would suddenly be these nefarious individuals who engaged in all these despicable acts throughout the 60s and 70s and 80s and 90s. And it's like media, this is public relations. That's why they don't go after. That's why they propped up Andrew Cuomo. Andrew Cuomo should have been impeached or removed from office last year. Gee, I wonder why he wasn't. It's funny how the Lincoln Project implodes. All the skeletons come out of their closet. They're completely and utterly disgraced. Andrew Cuomo is now completely and utterly disgraced. You have two of the most infamous or most influential political, like one organization, one governor, who went against Trump. And then you have all of Hollywood that's going against Trump. But could you imagine if anyone actually did investigative journalism on what's going on in Hollywood? Or the types of people that are going after Trump? Nobody said that Trump was this saint, but he doesn't. The difference is that Republicans don't judge and condemn and pontificate. That doesn't make anything bad that they do, that much better. But you look at what's taking place right now, Republicans just can't get away with everything that Democrats have gotten away with. You think that if a Republican governor presided over the worst outcomes in terms of the pandemic, with the worst economic outcomes as well, they'd be viewed as they'd be given a book deal to talk about leadership lessons? Cuomo has a book deal out, or he has a book out on leadership lessons. And you think where are the journalists? Where are the 20-something journalists trying to find, 36 to 40 people to corroborate allegations against Cuomo? You're talking about New York, the media capital of the world. There are no journalists there. The New York Times is obsessed still with Trump. They're like, oh yeah, he's going to jail, to prison. It's like, well, they mocked when people said that about Clinton, but Clinton did commit she did commit crimes with servers with top secret intel. You just can't have a server, you can't have servers for 4 years with top secret intelligence, and the FBI director has no authority to evaluate whether there was intent. Furthermore, intent is not even part of one of the specific legal statutes that Clinton broke. Owning servers for 4 years is a crime because you're doing so to hide whether it's your foundation, whatever. That's obvious. Nobody even believes that there wasn't criminal activity. Everyone thinks that Trump must have committed something, but there are no servers, there's no Whitewater, there's no hedge fund, there's no nothing that actually took place. What happened in New York, aside from Michael Cohen's allegations and all these prosecutors thinking that something must have happened? What was the predicate crime? There's a grand jury, so why, how did they impanel a grand jury? On what? There was no, where the emails, for example, with Biden's son. We couldn't, the New York Post, the suppression is pretty unbelievable. The New York Post's Twitter account was suspended. You think Mitt Romney or Ben Sass or Cheney or Kinzinger even cared? You think they said anything about it? That's why Trump has every right to take every dollar from the Republican Party and have people just give it to his PAC directly. Clinton and Biden had fundraising deals with the DNC where they got the majority of funds the DNC received. That was in Politico. So, but you have 6 allegations now, in addition to the horrendous decision-making within the elderly facilities, giving immunity to these companies that run elderly facilities, putting infected people within these places where the most vulnerable New Yorkers had to suffer and lose their lives because of their governor. And Trump, it's like you try to tell this to the children of the corn, to the cult on the left. It's like a gigantic cult. And don't ever debate anybody on the left because they just start yelling. It's like a religious, they're so utterly programmed in their mind to believe that they're morally superior, but they're actually in so many ways morally inferior. Because they prop up people like Andrew. Andrew Cuomo is more responsible for the lives lost in New York than Trump. That's not a stretch or hyperbole. That's like basic logic. President Trump had no authority to dictate how New Yorkers should live their lives. Andrew Cuomo was given a great deal of authority that the state legislature just suspended now, removed his authority. So, give me your thoughts below. I will not have a live stream tonight, but I'll have another segment before 12 p.m. Pacific or 12 a.m. Pacific this evening. But ladies and gentlemen, it's pretty unbelievable. You have Newsom was going to be recalled, or the recall is growing. You have Whitmer in Michigan who paid $150,000 to one of the top officials there. What the Republicans are calling it hush money. But of course, like, none of these scandals are being obsessed over because Democrats, they protect their own, they protect the side that they want victorious. They fabricate scandals with Trump because they don't like his personality, and so anything goes. And if, God forbid, you engage in the same behavior that Democrats engaged in, I'm talking about in terms of questioning the sanctity of our democracy, it's the end of the world. Look, there was a trap that President Trump fell for. You know what? He did himself no good with his Twitter presence the past year, especially the past 5 months before, or 3 months before getting banned. The best thing that ever happened to Trump was that he got banned. Now he grows in popularity, and he could rebuild the Republican Party in his own image, which would be fantastic. Trump does not stand for. He's against bigotry, racism. Everything that they leveled at Trump was either a lie or a hit piece or fabricating quotes or not even looking like the C-SPAN quote literally says, and I'm not talking about the 1930s and 1940s Germans. Those people should be condemned completely. He never said they were fine people. These are lies and tinfoil hat fantasies that Democrats and media perpetuated, and a great many people believed, just because they don't like Trump's personality. So they don't bother going on C-SPAN and actually looking at, like, look at the quote. He never said it. And then it's, well, you know, the subliminal. So when they don't have anything he actually says, the subliminal then. Give me your thoughts below. He never called the pandemic a hoax. He never downplayed anything. These are all, like, insults based on, predicated upon the sentiments of really apoplectic Democrats. Give me your thoughts. Hit subscribe. I'll be back in a couple of hours.